Hi, I'm Julia and you're watching Code Kitchen. Today we'll be making an app I like to call Tasty Taxes. Basically, you click a button every time you do a bad thing, like overeating cookies, and the app records it to discourage you from doing the bad thing. I already have Android Studio open, but if you don't have it, then pause this video and go get it real quick. Let's start by clicking Start a New Android Studio Project. You should see a screen that lets you configure your new project. It doesn't really matter what you name the project, just remember where you save it to. When you're done with that, you'll see this page. Stick with the default options on this one. It's just saying that your app should run on about 95% of all devices in the world. Android Studio is nice enough to give us some starter apps to choose from, like Starter Pokemon. We're going to choose the empty activity one, but if you scroll around, you can see there's a lot of other options too. Once again, just leave the defaults for this one. We're only going to have one page, so it doesn't really matter what it's called. When you click Finish, it's going to take a while to load it up. Pause the video here and come back when it's up. All the starter apps should run without you having to do anything else. If your starter app doesn't run, then something went wrong with your Android Studio. Run your app now. Check out my other video if you want a quick summary about running your apps. Unfortunately, my laptop can't handle Android Studio and an emulator being open at the same time, so I'm using a physical device. Your app should run and look something like this. If you look to the left in your project dropdown, these are all the files in your app. We have main activity open right now, but if you click the triangle in the folder that says Res, it'll show you more folders. One of them should say Layout. Open up that one too. In it, you should see a .xml file. For an intro on XML files and layouts, check out my other video. Double-click the XML file to open it and click the tab to show the text version. Go ahead and move this XMLNS line to the next line just to make it easier to read, and delete the constraint layout. We want to be using linear layouts, or relative layouts if you prefer. Make sure you get both ends of it if it doesn't automatically do that for you. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But don't forget the ending one needs that slash at the front. Now, if you go to the design view, you can see it looks different. For now, we're just going to put everything on there one after the other. You can style it later. Going back to the text version, find the line where it says text equals in the text view and change it to Tasty Taxes, or I guess whatever you want to name it. You should see it displayed in the design view. Next thing we're going to add is a button. This is the button that users are going to click on whenever they do a bad thing. Tip: clicking Alt and slash at the same time, the slash next to your Shift key, not the one above your Enter key, should provide comment notation in most programs. Comments are text in a file that the computer doesn't run. It's just notes for people to read, but doesn't affect anything else. I'm just going to add some comments to the chunks so it's easier to understand. Tip: for best practice, use enough comments so that someone else reading your code can understand it. I like to add enough so that future me can remember what I was doing. You want it to be useful, so don't write something like, "This has text in it," as a comment for a text view. All text views have text in them. Set the text in the button to say, "I did the bad thing," so users know where to click. We're also going to add another text view up here, so users know what the bad thing is. By the way, all these things we're using, the linear layout, the buttons, the text views, are all called views. And each view needs to have a height and width, so the app knows how much space they should take up. Match parent means it'll take the size of its parent, which in this case is the linear layout. The default size for match parent of the outermost view is the size of the screen. Both the text view and the button are within the linear layout, so the linear layout is the parent of both. The text view and the button are the linear layout's children. Wrap content means that the view will take up only as much space as it needs. Make the text in this text view whatever your bad thing is. I'm making mine ate a cookie. If you check out the design view now, you should be able to see your new views. For some reason, buttons default to all caps, so if you want to turn that off, then use this line and set it to false. We're also going to calculate the amount owed, so make another text view for that. In order to calculate the cost, we're going to need to know how much the bad thing costs. Under the description text view, we're going to add a new view called an edit text. An edit text view is similar to a text view. Users can type into edit text views. You can also show hints on edit texts in case the user doesn't know what to put in there. Now, if you go to Design View, you can see most of the views that we will need. Once again, don't worry about the styling of it, we can make it look pretty at the end. In the next video, I'm going to cover how the app knows what to do when someone types and clicks on stuff. Know anyone who would find this useful? Share this video with them so they can sharpen their skills and cook up some apps.